Hello and welcome to this fifth edition of the weekly news in English for ASTAist.com. And here are the noteworthy news items from last week. Number 1. Israeli fighter jets targeted Syria's two international airports in Aleppo and Damascus, marking the third such attack by Israel in 10 days. Both airports were shut down, with one civilian worker killed and another injured in attacks on Damascus International Airport. There have been sporadic skirmishes along Israel's northern border with Lebanon as Israel continues to build up troops there ahead of a possible full-scale war with Hezbollah. Fears are growing that Iran's closeness to the Lebanese parliamentary group could spell the possibility of war between Iran and Israel, which is likely to include Syria. Number 2. The IAEA says global green energy targets for 2020 are at risk without more nuclear power plants being built. At the Singapore International Energy Week, International Atomic Energy Agency Deputy Director General Mikhail Chudakov spoke to the audience about the desperate need for more nuclear reactors around the world. Chudakov said the world needs to build 20 or more reactors a year instead of the current 3 to 4 being built at the moment. His message was clear: the world must accelerate the use of nuclear energy to reach its green goals. Nuclear power is the only so-called green on-demand option for the electricity grid, according to Chudakov. Number 3. China's digital yuan was used for the first time to settle a cross-border oil transaction. This marks a big overall step in the use of the yuan in the international market and the global movement towards de-dollarization. In the first 3 quarters of 2023, the use of the yuan in cross-border settlements grew by 35% year-on-year, reaching $1.39 trillion according to China Daily. Also on October 19th, First Abu Dhabi Bank announced that it had signed a digital currency agreement with the Bank of China, a state-owned commercial bank, at the Third International Corporation's Belt and Road Forum, which had ended a day earlier. China and the United Emirates, of which Abu Dhabi is a part, are participating in the mBridge platform to support cross-border transactions with a central bank digital currency. mBridge plans to launch a minimum viable product next year. In August, Abu Dhabi signed an agreement with India to settle oil transactions in rupees. Number 4. European liquefied natural gas imports will increase by 30% in November due to winter heating demand. Although it is a 20% drop in demand from last year, Europe has reduced its gas consumption over the past year due to energy savings and reduced industrial demand resulting from higher prices. Number 5. The European Central Bank is laying the groundwork for a version of a central bank digital currency. According to their website, the preparatory phase for the introduction of the digital euro will start in November and will be based on the results of a research phase. The preparatory phase is expected to last 2 years. This is not to say that the European Central Bank digital currency is for certain, but the ECB is clearly laying the groundwork. According to the bank, it cannot introduce the digital euro until the EU adopts the legal framework. The central bank digital currency exists as virtual banknotes or coins are held in a digital wallet on a computer or smartphone. The difference between a government-backed digital currency and peer-to-peer electronic cash, such as Bitcoin, is that the digital currency's value is backed and controlled by the government, just like traditional fiat currency. The ECB describes the digital euro as an electronic means of paying freely, available to everyone. Bankers and government officials are working hard to sell the benefits of digital currency to the public. Proponents emphasize the convenience of digital currency. The ECB stressed that making public money available for digital payments would make life easier for all of us. Officials also say the central bank's version of digital currency will help stop dangerous criminals who exploit the use of cash. Despite the rosy picture painted by central bankers and politicians, central bank digital currencies have a downside they don't talk about out loud. The central bank's digital currencies are part of a wider war on cash. Excluding cash creates an opportunity for the government to monitor and control consumer spending, and it becomes impossible to hide transactions from tax authorities. The digital economy would make it even easier for central banks to use manipulative monetary policies such as negative interest rates. And that concludes last week's news roundup. Thanks again for watching.